Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh and you're watching Global Governance News TV. Today, I'm going to discuss the criminalization of politics. And criminal is going to be leader. And now the from 10th of February in India, election is going to be held, assembly elections. And the major state, UP, Uttarakhand, and Manipur, Goa, and Punjab, the five states election. And yesterday, you have already have seen the visuals and statements of CM of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Yogi Adityanath, how the Akhilesh Yadav is promoting the criminals in politics. And during his regime, all criminals were just was out of states and they are not involved in any activity. And how he has just tried to evacuate the all criminals from the states, but they did not comment on that. How the criminalization of politics and how all and how he has just tried to comment on that. How the criminalization of politics. I think and how problem something. All something problem. I think what is the problem? Comment on that. How the criminalization of politics. I think and how. Where is the voice coming? Yeah, I think from Vandana ji, the voice is echoing.
I was sharing that video on Facebook. Sorry.
Oh, that's why. There you go. No problem. No
sorry.
issue. So no issue. So I just confused there. No problem. So if you see the data of the criminalization of politics and how the Law Commission already recommended the lawbreakers, and as said, the politics has reached a stage where the lawmakers become the lawbreakers. And a democratic country like India, that is Bharat, the increasing nexus between the criminals and politics threatens the survival of the true democracy, how they defined by the Abraham Lincoln. And it is becoming the trend. This is so ridiculous situation in country, and so scary also. If people with the criminal background have become the influence in politics, then the people without the criminal background. And if you see the data of the organization, increasing percentage of members of parliament and members of parliament who have the criminal background. If you see the 2004, 24%, and that increased up to 43% in 2019. And the new Lok Sabha has more than 50% member of parliaments have the criminal records. That is also a matter of just balance, how they have balanced it. Okay, those person who have the record but not convicted, maybe contest the election. Why and what for? And the legal aspect and constitutional provisions and disqualification of criminals, they have made the different rules for own themselves. But if you have all the criminal acts against you, or whatever they are already person who have the criminal records in parliament, you'll be surprised. All party, just name it, and all party have this type of records. I mean, all those allegations against you, you can't do I think the job of any small stuff. The Law Commission of India in 179th report recommended amendment to the Representation of People Act 1951. And it suggested the people with criminal background should be disqualified for 5 years or until acquittal. And it is also recommended the person who wants to contest the election must furnish details regarding any pending case. That is happening, no issue, with the copy of FIR complaint, and also furnish details of the all assets. But no action was taken on the recommendation of the government due to lack of the consensus among the political parties. How they are united for this crime, we can understand it. And how this is a political nexus, this is a corruption, this is a vote politics, they're all things. So we have the expert panel here, Alok Laharji from Spain, and Professor Shivaji Sarkar, and Mr. K.V. Lakshman, senior journalist from India, Bharat, and Vandana ji from the Chicago, USA. So I start today from the land of Lincoln, how Vandana ji defined the democracy is for the people, of the people, and to the people, like that, whatever definition was. Do you think the definition is now pertinent to discuss now in our democracy. And many countries have, there's no meaning. I think that definition of a linga should be changed. Do you
Why
think so?
def why definition should be changed? Why people should not be changed? I don't buy your
Yes,
statement, to be
that's
very
fine.
honest.
That's fine.
When we talk about the governance, what are they doing? Because see, there is a thing which is called Sam Dam Dandved. If you try to, because you have made a rules, if the rule stays on paper and nobody follows, then there has to be an action. First of all, this has become a biggest mockery. We have been seeing the list which has been out. How could that be? But what do you expect from a person who himself is leading, has no guts to even run for a poll himself? He doesn't want to, means like, he knows wherever in UP, out of 403 seats, wherever, there is not even a single safe seat for him that he wants to run from. I mean, like, this is a shame. Like, they want to come from the upper house kind of thing. That has been a trend. And on the context to it, the current sitting CM of, who has been a member of parliament for 5 terms, I think from 1998, and he has announced that I'll be running from Gorakhpur, which is his home constituency. Because if he said that I'm running from Gorakhpur because the party allocated him the Gorakhpur, they started making this as an issue. If he would have been allocated from Ayodhya, that would have been issue. That is enough of it. Tell me, where are you running from? We need to. You are running from people. You are, but people have to understand. And because he himself has a track record, Toti Chor, like, they call it. So his Jamaat, like all the chores are going to be, because he will be the king of them. And it is a shameful, because I started seeing it, what has happened in Uttar Pradesh before, and now we follow. Let me be very honest. Born and raised in Delhi, to be honest, migrated to US almost 3 decades. But Uttar Pradesh, when we talk why it is important for someone who's a Sanatani, there are so many Tirath sthals that we visit. I'm being honest with you. That is the reason that we go. Earlier, there was no UK, so UK and UP was one. So all these Char Dhams and everything was part of Uttar Pradesh. So we had an obligation that whenever we are coming, either we are going to Gangaji, we are going to Kashi, we are going to Vrindavan. So that has been, we have seen the development after 2014 onwards. Let me be very honest with you. We have not seen it. Whenever I used to take a travel, because they were feeding themselves. And the history of the person that we are talking, that who claims to be himself a candidate for CM, because his father has a track record what he did in Ayodhya during Ram Janam Bhoomi when Kare Sevaks. I have lost 2 of my uncles during that very time. We don't even know where they are. When I visited with my mother to Ayodhya ji, I do recall how the tears were rolling out. But since the pandemic has come, I have not visited. Otherwise, I would have taken the first trip to Ayodhya Dham. So what do you expect? You said that the definition should be changed. No, people should be changed. They should be removed. They should be removed. They should not be allowed, because what is expected from an elected official? For the people, by the people. But now it is on a responsibility of that by the people to pick the right people. You have seen it in the ruling government, which is right now ruling. How many people have not been given the ticket? Otherwise, it is very easy, those who are getting it. And the other party, let's talk about the other Congress party, which has been claiming they have given. I'm not against like somebody wears this dress or no, I'm not talking about that. But when we talk about the Sanskriti of Bharat, the culture of Bharat, लड़की हूं लड़ सकती हूं, अरे भाई लड़के दिखाओ ना, खाली बकवास करने से थोड़ी कुछ होगा. लड़ो, इलेक्शन जाओ, लड़ो. तुम क्यों नहीं लड़ रही हो? Who's
So
stopping
Vandana
you?
ji,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Vandana ji. How does Shivaji Sarkar? How does you define the relation of the criminals and the politics, and in India and other countries also, if you have data, why they are just propagating, why they are going to promoting, who are promoting? You don't think that people are also responsible to elect these type of criminals in politics? Unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
You started with US. I think the criminal politics nexus there is far more deeper and intimate than it is in India.
No,
Now let me
I
see.
started from US. That's why I'm telling you the definition of the democracy.
Fine enough.
That's the land of the land of the definition that from Lincoln. That's why I quoted the Lincoln definition. How they change in the
I
context
just
of
want
the.
to tell you, 3 governors of my state, they are still in jail. Tell me the situation in Bharat.
Well, here Lalu Yadav has been in jail till
Indians,
recently for
they
many years.
conquered their land, they made them
We can
into
have such
states,
instances.
Jail
and they
or
are talking
hospital?
about democracy.
Jail or
But
hospital?
Jail. Actually,
That-
that is jail.
it is a jail. Any
Basically, jail.
premises can be
Whatever
declared
they
a
follow,
jail.
the money jail.
As per the jail manual, any premises can be declared a jail. Okay, so
Okay, no problem.
let us not go
Shivaji,
into that
Shivaji,
nitty-gritty.
please go ahead.
But
Please.
the issue is there are two kinds of criminalization. Often we journalists come out with the stories that in different parties, it may be Congress, it may be BJP, any number of parties it may be. It may be even the leftist parties, who definitely have somewhat a good record in many ways. All these two parties also have. But you see, whenever the new parliament is elected, first the story that will come out, there are so many persons with criminal background or cases against criminal cases against them in Congress, in BJP, and various other parties. So that way, if you see, almost the entire parliament appears to be almost infested by criminals, where some good people also may be there. But now here that there is the question: are all these criminal cases that is lodged against people are they real? Not all. L.K. Advani till today has criminal cases. Atal Bihari Vajpayee had criminal cases. George Fernandez had criminal cases. And you name any politician who has been active in politics, he will have one or the other case lodged by someone or other. So there, the Law Commission, in their discussion, they mentioned it, but not that deeper way. How these things are happening, anybody can have. You see, when I, I was in NUJI, my name was listed in Parliament Street police station because I was leading every other day some kind of a demonstration. Most others do it. So this is one aspect, that not all criminal cases are really criminal in nature as such. But legally they appear to be a crime. Even if you violate Section 144, you will be prosecuted under Section 188. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is, you see here, and right, this has happened not now, even before independence, there are instances, and in that case, I would say most of the Muslim League did it much more than any other party, where criminals were virtually recruited to support the cause of a political party. And even after independence, in different ways, at various places, and if you look at the first parliament, second parliament, subsequently 67 onwards, that went up very high. So now this is the nexus. You see, I can name quite a few from Bihar who had criminal background, and they are real criminals. At least one from Aurangabad, finally, you know what happened to him and how he was incarcerated in the jail. There are three others who are very well-known criminal names, but they were the very honorable members of different houses, assembly or parliament. Now, how these happened? You see, good politicians, and we know many people in Bihar, many people in UP, and almost in any state you can name it, Bengal to Andhra Pradesh or Kerala, it is not an exception. What we do?
You are talking about the states. I can give you some data, Shivaji, how just which state is a more criminal record background. So the Goa 32%, Kerala 29%, Bihar 26%, Jharkhand 26%. But Rajasthan 6%, Haryana 7%, and Assam the 7%. And the all the heinous crime and the already the record maximum from the Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, and Maharashtra on top. Apart from this data, whatever I just brief for you and for our viewers, so just you can
But
understand how the
Rakesh,
please,
data is slightly deceptive here. That is what I was saying.
yeah,
Data doesn't mean that criminals, all of them are criminals as such. The party candidates are concerned.
that is a matter of concern, Shivaji. We'll discuss
That
why
is what
not they
exactly
are
I'm
criminal.
saying. That is what
Why they
exactly
are
I'm
not
saying.
criminal? Already criminal background, either the rape and a loot and a murder, the whatever charges are there. So I'll come to you on that definition. Alok ji, how just you Shivaji saying is who was carrying record 144? He has given the example, and so many. I think the public places, so many laws in India. I think more than 70,000 law has been scrapped now. The old laws, useless law. So Alokji, how do you define, as Shivaji already shared his view, who is criminal, who is not? And that is on the principle 179th Law Commission report. They're trying to mislead. I'll say word the mislead. How do you define this? Why not they should bar from the election? As the Law Commission also just recommended.
No, I don't. I think that will be quite an excess if you bar them.
Why not, sir? Why not? Principle is for everyone. Alokji, unmute yourself. Alokji, unmute yourself. Alokji, unmute yourself, please. Your voice is not coming. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Kumar, Rakesh ji, my fellow panelists and the viewers. Criminals in politics or criminalization of politics or
The
being
same thing.
criminalized are three different things, as I understand them.
Yeah.
So, in case Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji or Advani ji or some of these politicians, they have some cases pending against them. Nobody would even consider this that they were criminals. That is point number one. Point number two is, as Mr. Sarkar said, he said there was a nexus between the political parties and criminals. This is true. We have seen it in Bihar earlier. Fortunately, Bihar, the numbers have come down. We have seen this in Bombay. It was always there. If we think about the bomb cards and all that, we know who organized it and who they were in nexus with. So they were getting some kind of benefits from each other, be it getting into power or being, land
Gujarat,
grabbing.
Gujarat
So
itself.
what happens in that state? But if that was accepted, so the step two for the criminals was that if I'm the right-hand man of this politician, why not ask him for a ticket? And then it became very difficult for the politician to refuse him. And that's how the criminalization of participation of criminals in the politics comes in. Now, then there is this methodology which we follow in lots of political parties that, let's say I want to stand for elections, and then they have this internal method that in case you would give 2 crores or 10 crores or how many crores, then we'll give you the party ticket. This is happening. Now, who can? Do you think Mr. Sarkar or Lakshmanji or I, we can go and pay this amount of money so that we can also become candidates? It's impossible. So in case you have that amount of money and you getting the tickets, it obviously means that you've earned it through the unfair means. Now, in unfair means, there could be two different methods. One could be, like you're doing financial crimes, or you are into, straightforward what we call the forgery crimes. So in case somebody is into land grabbing or somebody is into rape, murder, and extortion, that is going to be 100%
My question was
criminal.
different. My question was different. My question was just okay. There is so many laws and sections in Indian Penal Code, and how just define why should define? I'll come to you again, Lakshman. How you will define that? There, why not there the politicians set the parameters and policymakers set the parameters about the definition of the criminals, those especially in politics and bureaucracy and wherever. Lakshman, please unmute yourself, please.
The
Thank you.
entire set of people you mentioned, that is the top brass that is ruling the country, that is politicians, bureaucrats, police, and administration, they are all in it together. And which group will be so silly as to act against itself? Well, when it is so well entrenched, they each will be supporting each other rather than be acting against something that is benefiting them immensely, sometimes in such huge proportions that it is never possible to do it legally. So when I used to go to parliament, it was like a club of the rich and powerful of the country, sitting and defending each other, protecting each other again, and they're all the top 1 or 2% of the country ruling against the 98%. So we don't. I don't see anything that is going to improve as long as these interest groups continue to protect themselves. And it is not India specific, it is across the globe, including in the great US, which is touted as a great democracy, a country that is made of thieves, rustlers, bandits, dacoits, who were the original white inhabitants who were sent off to US as punishment. And those are the people who claim that it is they created a sham system and they say it's a globally best system.
Okay.
So I have my own very rigid but fixed notions about why this happens and how this happens and how it is very difficult for the 98% of the people to have their voice heard and things happening. And
How things happened in How things happened in Karnataka and Andhra? What about the sandalwood down
just
case?
time of break, and I'll come to you all.
Sorry?
And just also Shivaji from you, what is the definition of the criminals in politics as well? Still unanswered one, and how they should, why should not they bar from politics? Number 2 and number 3. I'll check the try to answer check all, and why the society should not be this criminal free society for the sake of the strong nation. Just break after break, I'll come to you all. Thank you. Welcome after break. Just when I started the program, we started the discussion. The Vandanaji just shared the view, and Vandanaji shared the 3 governors are in jail. So we can't say any country has not. All countries are just into it, that the criminalization of politics, either in USA and India and any parts of Europe and all. Vandanaji, what is the remedy? Only they are in jail. A politician at jail in USA, only remedy, and thus they should bar from the election. Number 2, or they come out jail and they can again fight the election. You know, what is the member of the senior Congress?
No, they will never be. They will never be able to fight the election.
Vandana, just a very small question to you. A number of US presidents were assassinated. And that was basically, we found, because of some kind of a drug mafia, gun running mafia, or some kind of those things. And the association of criminalization or criminals in US politics is very blatant.
Please. Yeah.
Situation then and situation now is different. You are talking about President Kennedy.
No, even before that, number of quite a few were.
But after
Yeah,
that,
whatever. Okay, yeah, please.
but after that, so I just want to say one thing. You asked me a question Whether they are allowed to be active in the politics? No. It's a big no. Not.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what I want to
That's
answer.
thank you. Now, Sivaji, how just you say there is any provision for the big no in India, in Bharat, for those politicians?
Legally, legally
Still
there is.
in this government, I am telling you fact. 130 member of parliament, including ministers, are the criminal background. Most of the ministers, some of the CM, some of the governors too. One governor is taking the protection for one from the northeast state. Why? What for? Why they are protecting any party protect those type of criminals? All the criminals, the criminals. What's the reason?
Absolutely, absolutely right. Now the issue is,
Yeah,
finally, the question you are raising: who will decide that someone is really a criminal or the case is fake or not?
that's the point. That's also point of concern for us,
No, no,
for the
that is
society.
that is one very big issue.
Yeah,
And you see, just anybody of among us, there can be some cases against us, but that doesn't make us a criminal. But technically, we may be in a shout. In that case, how will we decide? Again, we'll go back to the court, and court will take its own time and discussion and others, and they are also the same kind of a dilemma
last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, cases going on,
going on.
not convicted.
Even
Vandana ji, something to add.
Yeah, I wanted to add when Shivaji, the point that you are bringing, when there is a charge, when there has been a criminal charge, the person has to be brought out and had to be asked to pause. I'm saying that this is called suspension and termination. There is a difference.
Yeah.
You can suspend him for a time being, his time will come or her time will come, but unless or until there is a clearance. Because if in power, they can misuse it. What do you expect from this Chamanni, the justice that he will do for the 5th January, to be honest? Because he's still there. So that has to be third party. Coming back to judiciary. Judiciary, if can wake up at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, so judiciary is also answerable. They have to set a time limit to give justice within this parameter. Thank you.
Alok ji, just Vandana ji raised a very valid question. Why the judiciary be part of that system and that whatever conspiracy we can say, just for the criminals and whoever criminals and whatever, but for the country, judiciary should do or not. One, and the policymakers, why policymakers of all parties are united to protect themselves from those criminals, those in party.
Okay, now there are various aspects which we are touching. I will try to narrow them down. Like, first is, in case there is some case against somebody, he is not a criminal. That is correct, but he has to be convicted. What cannot happen in any democracy is that you have a case against you and you're out on bail, and this bail goes on till 18 years. I mean, we have chief ministers who have bails against them for 18 years. I mean, this is unheard of in any part of the world. Now, in case criminals have been there in all these societies. In fact, in the olden period, जो जितना बड़ा डाकू वो उतना बड़ा राजा, but we are not into that kind of governance now. We are into a democracy. You have the choice to elect who you're going to elect. So what we cannot do is, because it was happening in the United States of America, or it is happening in France, or it was happening in Russia, it should be allowed to happen in India. Now, that is not an excuse. So it is not that if it is happening in India, we cannot say that, oh, it is happening in the United States, so it is valid here also. No, it is not. It is not valid there, and it is not valid here also. Now, the thing is, like Vannaji said, one thing is suspension. What can happen is that in case there is some criminal case against you, it can be of any nature. If, we have this law which says that person should be suspended from fighting for elections till the case comes out, I can assure you that the judiciary will be working faster than it has been doing until now. Because this would go against the interest of the people who want to fight the elections. That is one proposal. And it is not like this. It is not like this. In fact, there is a judgment by the Supreme Court of India, I think it is from 2012, where they said any person who has a criminal record, it has to be put on the websites, on the Twitter, on everybody of the
Yeah,
party.
that is the
And
rule of
this has
election
to be
commission now in
declared
India
to the
also.
public
Yeah.
of India that we are fielding a person who's got a criminal record, and election commission has to take actions against it. Now, this is happening now. Now, since election commission is not doing anything, and the parties don't, they are trying to use the muscle power and in many cases, the money power
One,
of these
Alok,
criminals.
one thing I want to
So
add,
then
just
people have to go to the Supreme Court for public interest litigation. Now, you can see that happening in Bihar. So unless and until we put a time lag, like we don't put a time lag, anything you want to get done in India to the bureaucracy, it does not say that this would be responded in 1 month's time or 1 year's time. This happens in the West. I mean, we can criticize West for whatever reason we like, but we have
one
to
question,
also understand what is
Alok ji,
happening. For example,
one
if I
question is
want
very
to apply for
important.
a passport, I should be given the time of 1 month that your passport would be given. In case it is not given, then the officer concerned should be, questioned. The same thing happens in the criminality case also. If there is a criminal case against you, you have the court has to tell that a decision would be taken. And in case a decision is not taken by the election commission on this, because it's the ruling by the Supreme Court, and it is not just once, it has happened twice or thrice. That the Honorable Supreme Court has said that this has to be done. Now, in case that case is,
I'm trying to add one
that
fact.
if case is
Alok
not
ji,
picked up by the election commission, why doesn't the Supreme Court take a suo moto action against them?
that's a problem. But I'm just adding you some facts. The criminalization of politics in India includes the political control of the police, state money, corruption, weak laws, lack of ethics, values, vote bank politics, and loopholes of function of the election commission too. Are having the weak rule of India and now main reason that lead to increased alternative form of disputed resolution. But according to Lakshman, Mr. KB Lakshman, the ADR, as you know, Association of Democratic Reforms analysis shows that candidates facing criminal charges had more chances of winning as compared to those with a clean record, and this raises the question as to why Indians elect the criminal politicians. So I think I'll check the answer, all of you. And it is also usually said that people vote for the criminals out of fear. Indian voters elect criminals due to the benefits of the divine they would receive from them, since the politician would have used discretionary power over the implementation of policy for their vested interests or enable the distribution of benefit to the public. So do you think like that?
Oh yes,
Lakshman.
definitely. Any criminal wields so much fear. He instills fear among the people, and he earlier, like Alokji said, that he was just a companion. Then he became powerful enough to be the front man himself. And when you have a decent man against a criminal, when a criminal is your representative, you bloody well listen to him.
Okay. So Shivaji, do you think this is a good for the
They vote out of fear.
Yeah, this is good
Yeah.
for the people. This is good for the society.
I'm just extending Alokji's deliberation. I'm
No,
adding to
my question, I mean, Alok ji is just raising the finger from judiciary. I totally agree that that's not issue. But the
no.
candidate my question is the candidate facing the criminal charges had more chances of winning as
I'm just
compared to those of clean record who raised the question why and what for.
let me answer that.
Please.
We remember 95. There was a Hawala case,
Yeah.
and it named a number of politicians.
Scindia,
Advani
Rajesh
included.
Khaled, Advani, and all.
Sharad
Yeah.
Yadav.
Sharad Yadav. Yeah.
And what Advani ji did on his own, he decided not to contest the election. So this was a charge. Right or wrong, I'm not going into it. I'm not going into the background of it, the Jain diary and all that. Now you see, Advani ji did not contest the election, he suffered.
Till just already until they
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
innocent. Yeah.
Now, at the same time, there were these two very well-known criminals from Bihar who contested the election and they won. And they had charges of murder against them, charges of extortion against them, and many other kind of things. Now, if we compare Advaniji with them, I think it will be a great injustice to any person like Advaniji or Sharad Yadav or similar persons. So this is one dichotomy when you say the charges. What kind of charges? The law is very clear here. The law says once convicted, and that conviction comes after a very long process. Another Bihar leader we know, he was jailed after a very, very long battle. Right or wrong, I'm not going into that. He virtually was thrown out of politics because of that. Now, when you go into this kind of definition, there are problems. Now, what we can do, the legal process is very convoluted, very long.
Sir, you are going to theoretical.
I'm answering that. I'm answering it.
Please, please.
Now,
please.
there has to be the conscience of the political party, how they do it. And they can take such a decision. You see, it is not that this has to be used in the case of people like Advaniji or Sharad Yadav. But there are others against whom everybody knows the charges are very heinous. But they do not dare it. Now you take instance of Santokh bin Jadeja in Gujarat. He was running a mafia empire and virtually controlling the Saurashtra politics. And he did it for decades.
Sir, my question is different. You are going different way. Alok ji, I also asked Alok ji, you don't think people are also more responsible to elect this criminal politician? My question is that if we voted them, then the number will be increased. Why people voted them?
Absolutely, you are absolutely right. It is correct. People
That's
are
the
to be
point.
blamed. People are to be blamed. Why do you?
Why
Because
people
for
not be
the
blamed?
huh?
Alok ji.
People
That
should be
is my
blamed.
question.
People should be blamed.
Yeah. Alok ji, what is
No,
your input?
the people cannot be blamed because you and I know that public opinion are, it is molded. And the money power which the criminals have, they utilize and they buy the journalist and the propaganda and what news has to come and what does not have to be
Sir,
come
you are
out.
talking
That
the
is
role of
controlled by
media.
them.
I'm talking the role of the voters. You are talking
No,
the role of
exactly.
media.
Voters do not even know. If you go to an average voter and you ask him,
Sir,
who is he?
last more than
He
10
will
years
generally
in
tell you
India,
he's a very big man. He's a very
Alok ji,
powerful man. He doesn't even
last
know what
10
the cases are. Even educated
more,
people don't know that there were cases against, very known politicians.
If they are not known, they should work on it. That whom they are elected. So that is again
No,
a
but
failure
that's the
of
reason
using.
Supreme Court
You
that
took
is
using
our
out that,
vote
vote
on
bank.
the website or
If I am
wherever, there should
electing,
be this criminal record
We
of the
should-
candidate so
They
that
are
people
already.
get aware of it.
We should punish
So
all
the
of them.
intentions
Alok ji,
of the Honorable
already.
Court are very, very clear.
No,
it is
but
a
it
But
is
moral
already doing
responsibility.
NCIO side.
following it or not? That's the
It is
question.
Alokji, it's a moral responsibility of you being a voter to whom you are electing to
Yeah,
see his background.
That's the point.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
point.
And what about, giving the
Yes.
hordes of people who are given a bottle
Voters are
of
guilty.
alcohol or they are given money so that they go and vote?
Yes,
They don't
yes.
even care.
पैसा ले लो, वोट सही आदमी को दो.
Absolutely
पहले
right.
था ना?
Voters are guilty.
वो भी ठीक है.
So funny.
सही आदमी कौन वोट देगा?
This is the
Because
character of the
unfortunately,
voters also.
the life of the
Lakshman, you
common
want to
people
add
has
something?
not changed, whoever has come. So
Lakshman, you
if
want to
they
add
see
something?
that the roads are being made, or let's say the religious places have converted within a span of 4 or 5 years, when they see this work being done, then people get aware that yes, my vote matters. But until they see this, and they have not been seeing, they don't care who they vote for.
Look, here, Rakesh, I would
But
like
it's
to
true in
point
the
out
last
another
70 years it hasn't happened in India.
Huh?
No, it is not that.
What about the
There
next
have been,
7 years? You can still do
there
that.
have been in
Never
many
means-
areas where people have really punished the criminals. It is not like that. But then take the case of Veerappan. He might have been in the sandalwood forest, but he was controlling entire Karnataka. Not only Karnataka,
But sir,
Karnataka
we are
politics.
diverting the issue. Birappan was just a Robin Hood type case.
No, he was not a Robin Hood. He was not a Robin Hood.
Type
Yes,
case.
don't.
Type case.
Veerappan and Santokban Jadeh, they were not different. Okay, they were not different. Veerappan was controlling the politics of Karnataka, Andhra, and Kerala. Okay,
That's
it
why,
was not
sir. That's why.
suggestion.
That's
He
why I'm
was
telling
controlling.
Robin Hood type case.
Kumar
No, this
Rakesh
was
ji,
Robin Hood.
Sir.
He was the real
people
king
have
there.
to know one
Yeah,
thing.
this is
Shivaji,
My last take.
voting for
Sir,
him.
Shivaji,
All
last
people
political
have to
parties.
know there
He
is
could
no
not be
free
arrested
breakfast.
because of the support of political parties there.
No.
There
my
is
last-
no
This
free
is where the
breakfast in the
problem
world.
is.
Somebody somewhere is paying for it. Either not today, but tomorrow. The taxpayers or not the taxpayers. Everybody is paying for that. One has to realize that.
Absolutely.
my
And
last
today
Mufat
we
mein
know
bottle.
his daughter is a member of the National Party.
Shivaji said this Swami Prasad Modi left BJP. His daughter is a member of parliament of BJP. That is a different case. I am telling you. That is different issue. This is characteristic of the politician, the characters and faces of politician. I am not going that. My question is: do you think all four panelists? Very small question of: do you think lawmakers should be lawbreakers? Simple one.
Now,
Yes. You see, the basic, I can tell you,
Sir,
Unless
we are
and
running out of
until-
time. Sir,
no,
my
I'm just saying,
question.
I'm
simple
giving
question.
one liner only, one liner.
Please,
One liner.
please.
Real criminals cannot be checked. That's all.
Alok ji, he has just.
I think
diverted
you've
the
asked the question incorrectly. Your question should be, should the lawbreakers be lawmakers?
Okay, sir. Whatever, just how you will go twist the question, it's up to you. But my concern
No,
is that
lawmakers should not be lawbreakers. Obviously, they have to set the
Simple.
example.
Simple.
But
Lakshman,
the question you
Lakshman.
have been asking is the same.
Sir,
Should the lawbreakers be lawmakers? They should not be, but unfortunately, they are seeping in.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Lakshman.
They're bulldozing into it.
What I
Lakshman.
will take it further. They should not be, but they are. At the
Why?
moment,
So
they
that
are
is the
the
question.
lawbreakers.
Why?
And
That
why
we
is
like
it
person
pure
should sort
greed,
it out.
Human,
Please.
pure human greed and
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah.
Very true.
That very true. So we can understand that this is a crime just already from the society and how they are going from the society, and that's why society, in the name of caste, religion, party, electing them. That's why going to the parliament and the assemblies. So first we have to aware ourselves through the different mode of mediums and media, and they should not go. We should not elect those type of criminals in politics and either any houses. Then we can stop the criminalization in politics or a criminal in politics and how the politics is going to be criminalized, whatever we're trying to discuss. And there was a reference to the 5 elections in the next 10th February and the result of the 10th March from in India, the Uttarakhand, UP, Punjab, Manipur and Goa. Let us see what will happen now in the next, how the more criminals or less criminals will come in the politics in the new assemblies. Thank you very much.
Political parties themselves take to criminal methods.
Yeah.